Brianna slid into her seat and dropped her purse onto the floor. She kicked it underneath her desk and picked up her headset at the same time, working quickly so that she could clock in on time and be ready to take her first call. All she wanted to do was take calls, maybe take a 10-minute smoke break about halfway through the day, punch out, and then leave. She did not want any social interaction to break up that rhythm. Normally, she liked her coworkers, but today she could feel all of their eyes drilling into the back of her head. A hand landed on her shoulder and she jumped. "I am so sorry for your loss," said Jen, the woman in the cubicle next to her. Brianna just nodded and reached up to tap her headset, as if she were already in the middle of getting a call. Jen took the hint and left, but not without a sympathetic look and an extra shoulder squeeze. She could hear the condolences piling up like phlegm in the throats of everyone around her, just waiting to be expectorated. She cringed and moved her mouse along its pad to open the program that logged her hours. She wished that she could keep deaths in the family personal like everyone else. Then again, not everyone has the local papers run a headline. Mago Vex, respected and well-loved family psychiatrist, passed away at 63. Survived by his only daughter, Brianna Abigail Vex, 30. Vex works for the Calcut Energy Call Center and has stated that she'll leave the planning of the funeral to her 2 uncles. Brianna rubbed her face. If she had to sit here in silence all day, she was going to be crazy. She moved her cursor from one corner of the screen to the other and moved it in circles around the browser icon just to watch it change colors. Anything was better than... Someone was calling, thank fuck. Brianna hit the flashing button on her phone and slumped back in her seat.
Thank you so much for calling Calcut Energy. How may I help you today?
She waited for a minute and no one answered. Frowning, she leaned forward again, resting her elbows on the desk.
Hello? If you're still on the line, how may I help you today?
Static. She thought she could hear a garbled voice behind it, but whoever was calling had to be sitting on the roof of their barn in the middle of bumfuck nowhere with their hand in the air for a signal, because it sounded like she was trying to listen through a microwave. Frustration made her chest tight, but years of customer service kept her on track.
I'm having a little bit of trouble hearing you, sir. Could you please repeat that last question?
Even as she spoke, she reached up to adjust her headset, as if somehow that would magically fix the connection. As soon as she moved her hand away from the mouse, her computer screen blipped. It went dark, and then it was back up, dimmer than it had been before. Brianna frowned and stood, leaning over to jiggle the connecting cords in the back. Sometimes the ones connecting the screen came loose and all it needed was a little push.
I apologize, sir. I still can't quite understand what you're trying to say.
The monitor went completely dark. Brianna pulled her hand back quickly. That was it. She realized she must have tugged the wrong cord and broken the whole thing. Maybe she could say she'd been in the bathroom the whole time and they wouldn't think it was her fault. The static on the call stopped. Brianna looked at the phone as if expecting it to be broken too. She could not tell if it was. The green call button was still on, and she felt like she could hear someone breathing. It was a lot clearer now. Crystal clear.
Hello?
She slowly sat back down.
Good morning.
Her heart plunged into her stomach. The voice on her headset was so clearly her father's, dusky and southern, in a very cultured way. But she had seen him go into the ground. She had watched them close the casket, and she'd stayed by the grave until they had filled it in as much as they would let her watch. She kept her eyes on him every single second, never trusting that that bastard was really gone. She glanced over her shoulder, but everyone was bent over their desks doing their jobs. The call was being monitored, so she couldn't hang up. She had to keep going, but she had no idea what to say.
Does the cat have your tongue?
Fear made beads of sweat start to appear on her forehead.
That is much better, sir.
She finally managed to say, falling back on her customer service voice to carry her through.
I can hear you.
Good morning, Agent. I hope you slept well.
Just fine, sir, thank you. So once again, thank you for calling Calcut Energy. What seems to be the problem?
I seem to be having a problem with my heating unit.
I see.
She stammered, tripping over her own words.
Well, let me see if I can pull up your account. How long has this problem been occurring?
About a week now. It's been very cold.
She swallowed.
Would you please confirm your address and account number for me, please?
There was not even anything on her screen. She wondered how long it would take before someone noticed. There was something else in the background. She recognized it as the faint ticking of a metronome. He used to keep one on his desk at home, and he used it during all of her timeouts and all of his long-winded reprimands. He used it during sessions for clients. His life was governed by that steady pulse.
641 Poplar Street. My power must be out altogether. It stays dark around here.
Well, sir, it appears your account has been suspended.
She could not keep a little bite out of her voice.
Oh, I see. Well, what do I need to do to get reactivated?
I'm sorry, sir. Once your account has been suspended, it cannot be brought back into our system.
Now that doesn't seem fair now, does it? I wasn't the one who shut it down.
Brianna licked her lips.
I understand, sir. Let me see if there is someone I can contact for you to fix the problem.
You were never capable of shouldering responsibility.
Absolutely, sir. If you could just give me 1 minute.
Brianna smashed her finger down on the hold button and watched the green light go red. She waited a moment in silence and took a deep breath, her head sinking toward her hands. Her chest felt so tight.
Perhaps I should tell you what happened.
Hearing his voice again when she thought the line was cut off made her want to vomit. Brianna sat up, her heart racing, and she pressed her hand against her headset like she was going to rip it off.
You see, my daughter came to my house last Sunday for dinner. She's a sweet girl. Your voice reminds me of hers, actually. We had a disagreement and she ran out into the rain. Not unlike her, you know. You would expect maturity at her age, but she's just like her mother. She's always throwing fits when she doesn't get away.
Brianna clenched her fist underneath her desk.
I don't think I understand what the problem is, sir.
I was alone with a glass of red wine in my study. You know, it's strange that I don't remember what happened, only that I couldn't breathe. I don't blame her for not staying. After all, she couldn't be expected to come around to a reasonable solution. And I'm sure that if she had been there, she could not have done anything, such as call an ambulance or rush me to the hospital herself.
Brianna tightened her fist. It took all her resolve not to punch the phone.
I'm sorry, sir, but there is nothing I can do to restore your account. It is no longer in our system.
Well, my hopes were not very high. You never were very accomplished.
Brianna ground her back teeth.
I'm sorry about that, sir. Is there anything else I can do to help you today?
Do you ever wish she had come back sooner to apologize?
She ripped her headset off her head and shoved her chair back. She slammed her fist down on the phone and heard it crack. The buttons were all dark now, but she could still hear the voice in her ears clearer than before.
I was alone for 12 hours. The things I saw, the things I heard, dancing across the ceiling and whispering in my ears as my brain bucked against the darkness eclipsing my frontal lobe, blotting out my reason. But it was all nothing in comparison to what you're feeling now, right? Are you terrified? Are you cold? Do you hear voices? It's all about you, isn't it?
Brianna screamed. The ugly sound tore from her throat and raked across her vocal cords like the serrated edge of a knife. She started running blindly, not paying any attention to where she was going. She heard chair wheels clatter across plastic mats as her coworkers all rolled back from their desks. Their eyes were on her again.
What an ugly disruption. A classic case of maturing narcissism.
Brianna grabbed her ears, nearly crushing the cartilage in her fingers. She kept running, despite the sinking feeling that she was never going to escape.
No one's trying to hurt you. It's all in your head.
She whispered back hoarsely.
It's all in my head. 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 It's all in my head.